Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, desolators, peasants, vassals, meat sacks, Beatle maniacs. I'm a useful idiot. Welcome. And it's music time again. And today we have to note the passing of George Martin, the fifth Beatle. And it's very, very fair to call him the fifth Beatle because what an interesting and complex relationship he had with the Beatles from the very beginning. All their most simple work. But one has to remember that since George Martin was already working with him in these early years, even though he wasn't doing that much orchestration for him yet, there must have been a symbiotic relationship and him helping them with their music songwriting as well as harmonies and melodies. So anyway, but certainly his work with the middle period and late Beatles with all the orchestrations and horn charts and everything else that goes along with them. And then helping the Beatles with these expansive visions they were having at the time. Certainly a lot of it fueled by drugs, which must have been an interesting experience for George Martin to help accommodate him during this period. But his contribution to what the Beatles were and are is really incalculable. Certainly his contribution to the Beatles gave them an edge over a lot of bands that came up at the same time who had a lot of hits as well, like the Dave Clark Five. How could any of these other bands really compete with the Beatles? Not only was this inherent talent of songwriting and voices in the Beatles, but they had George Martin, their secret weapon. And I have a soft spot for George Martin for a number of other reasons. He certainly worked with a lot of other artists that I enjoy, Jeff Beck and Cilla Black, and most notably an album he did with Cheap Trick called All Shook Up around 1980 or so, and he did a fine job with that as well. And then of course some of the work he's done with solo Beatles work as well has been impressive over the years. But what an interesting and wonderful man, very sophisticated, very cultured, very articulate, obviously very creative, and lived a full life. And so you will not be missed, Mr. Sir George Martin, because all those records people are going to be listening to every day for the rest of human history. So rest in peace, George Martin. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too?